Better than any Waffle House, Greasy Spoon Cafe, truck driving spot I ever visited in my life. Now, I like all them places, but it's a warm your belly right here now. It is good. You know, something that really takes me back to old country diners, breakfast, something that we used to every once in a while get when we was pretty small, and that is a good breakfast hash. I like to take hash and sort of step it up a little. We're going to put 3 different kinds of meat in this today. 3 kinds of different meat.
Say it again?
3 meat hash, just like it says right there on the menu board. 3 meat hash. That's what I'm talking about. But what goes on top of that hash? A fresh, fried, easy over cackleberry egg laid up there so gentle. So let's get started on making this hash. And what we're making today would probably get pretty close to serving 4 normal folks or 2 really hungry folks. That's the way I'm going to put it. I'm going to use bacon, chorizo, and ham. Now, I have done this with steak even. Leftover steak, chopped it up and put it back in there. But had a lot of people after they watched Cutthroat Kitchen and I made that hash. Oh, y'all didn't see me on there? Hey, you better go back and look. I won that time. It's one of the few times that actually I got to the winner's bracket and won. So we made hash that morning, and they said it was out of this world. So I'm going to dice everything up to where it's in sort of bite-sized pieces, because that's what hash is. 4 slices of good hog meat, bacon. A cup of diced ham. 4 ounces of chorizo. What is, let me count that. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 meats. Welcome to the family, the Little Red Russet.
It's not a russet, it's a russet.
I was fixing to tell a story.
Oh, sorry.
No, ma'am. Dice me up 3 of them little red taters. I like them in bite-sized pieces, and then I just put them in some water. Done this ahead of time. Why do you put them in the water? That's so they'll keep their color before we cook them. That way I know that I can just let them sit there. Ham, chorizo, bacon, taters, half a yellow onion, 1 garlic clove, done chopped up. Let's get to a stove. Now, Bertha, she's in here, but I can't build a fire in here, so I done drug that gas grill over in here so we didn't have to listen to that burner go all the time, because I get tired of that sound. So let's get started frying all this up. The quicker we start, the sooner we get finished. The first thing that always goes in, the bacon. So we're going to let this bacon brown up really good. I think you heard it when that hog jumped in the skillet. It went to sizzling. Now, sure, this old thing is seasoned from many years of abuse, but even so, you make sure it's hot before you put meat into it, because if you don't, it'll want it to adhere to the surface. Like, you know what that translates to in Oklahoma? It means, come on over here and stick to me. That's adhere. See this? While y'all was not watching and I was pretty busy, I done went in there and got me one of them Poblanos and put it out here on the grill and roasted that rascal, then sweated it. Remember that little trick? You take just a little bit of water, spritz in that bag, put that thing in there, seal it up. Them things will peel a whole lot better, I promise you. It don't take no effort at all. Now, if you like it even, say, hot, get you some serrano, some jalapeno, whatever you want. A lot of people put a bell pepper in theirs. We're about halfway there. We'll go ahead and dump that ham in there so it can go to getting some love from that bacon. Bacon is beginning to brown up. The ham is good, so let's get that out of there. Last but not least on the 3 meat treat, the chorizo. We're going to let this brown up really good. When it gets a little closer, we're going to go ahead and add that onion in there with it. And then we'll go to putting this stuff back together. You can get a chorizo link sausage, or you can get it in a casing sort of form to where it's just wrapped. Now, take it out of there and just squish it out in here, and then just dice it up a little, because it's going to cook a whole lot better, and it's even going to be more tender. After about maybe 2 minutes, let's go ahead and add them onions so we can get them in there so they can go to getting soft. Folks, these onions have got softened enough to where we can go ahead and get this back over there in another spot. So I'm just going to dump it right back. We're going to mix all this up a little, and I've got the burner on low over here on this side, so it's keeping all that warm. So in that same skillet, after we got the chorizo, the ham, the bacon, and the poblano out of there, and the onion, let's add just a little oil to this rascal, which is probably pretty close to 1/3 of a cup. And we're going to let that get good and hot. So let's add the rest of them potatoes, and we're going to cook them up. I want to get them good and crispy. Say you done baked some taters the night before. You've had them in the ice box. Slice them rascals up. You can deep fry them or fry them. They'll get back crispy. Do y'all carry that in your back pocket? I do. I'm going to season them with some of our original, because whew, it go good on everything. But folks, let me tell you, it go really good on some taters. So we got this where we want it. That is all over there. So, and that skillet's sort of hot, so I'm going to do this in a hurry. As you can see, there ain't hardly no grease left in this skillet, so we're going to dump all this back in here to where we can get it incorporated really well. And when we know that it is well mixed, then we'll set this aside and just keep it warm. I done got my favorite egg frying skillet out, which is that field number 8. So I got me 1 tablespoon of butter in here that I'm going to let get to melting and hot. In they go. I like to hear that sound. You find out how level stuff is too when you go to fry an egg somewhere. You see where it gets to run. Over easy is what we're after to acquire. Season these rascals a little salt, little pepper. Fry an egg in a cast iron skillet, it's got to be really seasoned well first, because eggs can stick in anything. Do you see them? See how they sort of run around all over the pan? That is a good skillet. So let's turn that rascal over. We are so close now, it ain't even funny. There is room for 2 more eggs in there, but I'm pretty hungry, so I think I can make that work. You can, even after you get this on the plate, if you want, put your little cheese on it or something like that. It's a pretty little dish it is when you get it on the plate, or you can eat it right out of the skillet. There's so much flavor that chorizo brings in there when you mix it back in with that onion. That right there is some fine dining. I got you one laid back, Big, I promise. Remember, hash, little bites, everything is diced up really well. 3 meats, yes, that's what I'm talking about, 3 meats. You can substitute whatever you want. This is sort of like a Happy Meal. Put in it what makes you happy. Keep your 2 skillets going, but you got to have something to keep this warm while you're waiting on something else. It's hearty, it's warming, best thing ever. Thank y'all. God bless you.
Like, what was the hardest challenge on Cutthroat?
The hardest challenge that I think I faced, and I guess I didn't have but 2, and that was the man with the spurs on that they laid on the table, and I had to cut all my vegetables, but I got to thinking I didn't have to cut nothing but some romaine and some jalapenos.
You had when you win, you have to do a dance, right? Why don't you redo the dance for all of us?
Well, there's no music out here, Shan.
Here, come on. Do the dance you did.
It's a Joe Parlaney dance. Know what I mean? That's